Welcome back. Welcome back. We are in the shop. It's visor season. Look at this. I need a haircut. It's been a while, but we're heading out in the boat. Walleye season is open here. I think it's the 14th or 15th of April. It is April 10th right now, maybe. So this is a pretty unique situation because, you know, we went to the Rainy River last week. That typically does open up early, but Lake of the Woods typically doesn't open up before walleye season closes. They close walleye season during the spawn. So we have a chance to target some pre-spawn walleyes, which is pretty cool. So we're gonna take advantage of it. It is a beautiful day. It's like +9 outside. So we're gonna just launch right in town, see if we can catch some walleyes. And I've kind of got a special objective today, but you're gonna have to wait till the end of the video to see what's going on behind the scenes. I'm kind of sharing a secret with you guys. But what I'm gonna share with you guys today is my 3 top spring walleye baits that I like to use depending on, you know, how deep the fish are and how aggressive they are. But here's my boat. I have done a walkthrough, I think 2 years ago when I got this boat. This is the Alumacraft Competitor 185. Pretty much handles all size water. We've got the 90 Honda on the back. I'll link that tour video below if you want a little more in depth. I'm not going too in depth, but I thought I would tell you guys, I guess, some of the things that are different this year, some upgrades I made to my boat. This is probably the biggest change in something I've been wanting to for a while. I put lithium batteries in for my trolling motor. I'll insert a picture underneath here. I put in 300 amp hour Dakota lithiums, ran in a 36 volt system to power my 112 pound thrust Ultrex, and it's an investment. I know lithium batteries are not cheap, but you kind of have to weigh your options, and I know it's not for everyone. In a boat this size, in a bit of a smaller boat, compared to like maybe a 22-foot boat, it is very noticeable when you can shed weight. So for me, swapping, these are the batteries that I pulled out, and these things are just, they're beasts. They're heavy, they're kind of dirty, and yeah, it did the trick, but I by the end, with how fried those batteries were, I was getting like 1 full day out of it, which shouldn't be the case. I should be getting like 2 days out of that. But I got these new batteries, the charger as well. I'll show you guys. It's a 36 system charger. So it's much smaller than my onboard charger before. As you can see, this one charger does it all. It charges it in less than 5 hours. So that as well kind of shed some weight. But yeah, they charge in like 5 hours. Their lifespan's longer. They're half the weight. I noticed even on the Rainy the other day is my 360 I had adjusted based on the weight of my old batteries. And my 360 was popping out of the water all day. And I was like, why is this happening? And I was like, oh, it's because I swapped the batteries out. So I haven't tested these batteries to see how long they'll last yet, but I'm predicting I'm gonna get 3, maybe 4 days use out of them, which is gonna be amazing for these camping type trips. And I won't have to bring a generator. I can, you know, park the boat on a beach and not worry about needing to charge my trolling motor batteries, because that's such a big factor for what I do. Yeah, that's that. Electronics are the same. I did add live scope towards the end of the season last year, I think in like August. But this is how I have it mounted. I know I've got lots of questions about it. This is just your transducer board that I mounted. I kind of custom cut it on the corner. This was something Aaron showed me how he had it mounted on his. Pretty clean. I did put a little electrical tape on here just because I noticed when the waves were hitting it, it was actually wearing a bit, depending on how you have it set. Right now I have it set so I can jig off the back and, you know, sharpshoot. I can see my lure, but as well, when I'm on plane, I can see 70, 80 feet in front of the boat, which is nice for seeing rocks. But on that topic, so many people are like, well, where should you mount your live scope transducer? Because, you know, obviously it's an expensive investment and you want to make the most of it. If you have a bass boat or essentially a non-tiller, then I think you're probably going to be putting it on the front of the boat. You're going to be putting it on your trolling motor. The thing there is you're only taking advantage of it when your trolling motor's in the water. For me, being a tiller guy, filming and not wanting to move around cameras as much, it's super ideal to have everything at the back. That live scope deucer's in the water all the time. It's always scanning. I'm always learning. So if I could have 2, yes, I'd have one on the trolling motor and one on the transom. But right now, if you can only have one and you're on a tiller, I would say transom's the way to go. But yeah, that's gonna be my rig. I am upgrading later this spring, early summer. We'll see when it arrives, but we're going bigger. We are. I do love the size of this boat. It has been amazing, but we're going with the 205 Competitor. So I'm very, very pumped about that. But hey, this boat is still perfect for everything I do. Enough talk. We're gonna go fishing. Oh, it's just so good to be in a boat. But we're gonna rip down the lake a little bit, see how far we can get, see how much ice there is, and hopefully catch some walleyes. We got three hours before I gotta be back in the kitchen doing some testing. Today, guys, we're not gonna talk too much about location, because location is just so unpredictable, and this is such a unique situation to have ice off before spawn. So I want to talk more so about some baits that I like for early season to kind of cover the spectrum. These 3 baits are tied on my rods pretty much all season long, but definitely for early season, these are kind of my 3 go-tos, and they're nothing revolutionary, but they cover, you know, your sluggish fish all the way to your real aggressive, hungry spring feeders. Let's go over our options. Let's start with the staple, the classic. This is for your neutral and negative fish. This is when you want to fish slow. You could probably already guess what it is.
Try an active jig and a minnow and a dead stick jig and a minnow.
It's the jig and a minnow. And you know what I look for in a jig? I like bright colors typically. I like pinks, whites. For walleye, chartreuse, those 3 are probably all I really use. As far as jig size goes, you want to cater it to, you know, if you're fishing current, the depth you're fishing. I'm typically trying to use the lightest I can use. I'll just show you my walleye jig box here. So we've got some that are a little more catered to swim baits. We've got some that I've made up here that are kind of a shorter shank, which is nice for live bait. And then you've got some longer ones with blades on them for, you know, big salted minnows, that sort of stuff. So that is option number 1, jig and a minnow. If you've ever walleye fished before, you've used a jig and a minnow. All right, option number 2, and this is the best for covering water, and my favorite way to catch walleyes, hands down. This is your swim bait, jig and swim bait. I've started making my own. I'll show you what I got here in my little plastics box. These are all by Do It Molds. This one is a new mold this year called the Slick Shiner, which just is, I think it's 3.8 inches, such a perfect size. You can see, as far as colors go, I kind of got a blue, pearl, and a gold. In dirtier water, I might want a color that pops a little more. And then you've got your conventional style swim bait here as well, kind of up to 4.5 inches. What's so good about a swim bait is it has so much kick, and it just covers water so good. When you're fishing shallow, it's really tough to beat a swim bait. If you guys have ever watched In Fisherman before, Doug Stange kind of pioneered swim baits for walleyes and caught so many big walleyes doing it. I've really started doing more of it in the past 2-3 years. Yeah, hands down, favorite way to catch walleye. So that's for covering water. It's a little more ideal shallow. When you're fishing deep, it's a little tougher to work a swim bait. But our 3rd and final option, and this is kind of somewhere in the middle depending on how you're working it, but this is a blade bait or your jigging wrap style bait. And this is a reaction style bait. It is ripping by their face pretty fast. But the beauty of this is you can fish this deeper. When you're fishing for deeper fish that are active or that aren't reacting to the jig and the minnow, a blade bait or a jigging wrap style can be really good. I'll show you my box here. I don't have a crazy selection. I mean, we got a couple blade baits here, and then we've got a bunch of Acme Hyper Glides and Hyper Rattles, and these are just so good for staying on fish. If you want to vertically sharpshoot fish and watch them eat and stay right on top of them, there's not really a better bait because it's so dense and so heavy. As well, something like a blade bait or a jigging wrap, you can cast out and you can snap it back and cover water like a swim bait. But those are my 3 options that I recommend you have tied on. In the springtime, we're probably gonna start by idling around here, graphing this out. We got a hump that comes up to 20 feet. I'm assuming the walleyes are gonna be a little deeper right now, probably closer to 30 feet. Yeah, you guys just wanna see fishing. I've been talking way too much today, but we'll see what we can do here. All right, starting with a pink jig and minnow, quarter ounce. And with that jig, I'm looking to target those a little more sluggish fish. I don't think these fish are gonna be ripping and roaring right now, so I'm kind of just dragging it on the bottom, making sure you're making bottom contact. That's like one of the most important things with a lot of walleye fishing, is just making sure you're touching the bottom. I see one lone fish. We'll see if I can get lucky enough to drop on him. Looks small, maybe a perch. 2 fish. We're hooked up? We are hooked up. I'll be fine with a perch fry tonight. I'll be very fine with a perch fry. Oh, that's big. We are gonna be keeping everything we catch today. Guys, that is a good sized perch right there. Nice, chunky mom. I'm not sure how many bars she has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7. Anyways, we are eating that. We're having a fish fry. It's been a while. Oh, love it. There we go. You're gonna be dinner. Perch fry tonight. Look at that, look at the rod tip. Oh, that's a perch. Perch is very distinct. Ooh, it's gonna be a decent one. Maybe a little better. All right, baby perch, number 3. There we go. That'll eat. Oh, that's fat. Oh, that's fat. That might be the biggest perch yet. Wow. The perch population in Lake of the Woods right now is just insane. They are everywhere, like everywhere, and they are fat. Sorry about the shade there. Beautiful, chunky little pan fryer perch. All right, that guy's going in the well and we are done here. 4 perch will definitely be enough for Sam and I. And we're gonna go down the lake, try to find some walleye. See where the ice is, see how far the ice is receded. There's a lot of boats here all of a sudden. A lot of boats. I think the reason there's so many boats here is this is the end of the road. I mean, there's probably 8 boats out here right now. And I'm that crazy guy at the camera, talking to myself, not catching fish. All right, we're in about 31 feet. Rocky bottom here. Oh, there we go. Not feeling like a perch. There we go. First Lake of the Woods walleye of the year. Wow, I'm pumped. April 10th, we're in a boat on Lake of the Woods. As far as a rod and reel goes for all 3 of these combinations, I mean, if you just had to pick one, I'd pick a 7-foot medium light probably. You could do a bit of everything. You know, for vertically jigging, if I'm not casting, I'm more so just going straight up and down. This is like a 6.3, you could go 6.6. For these other techniques, for the, you know, swim bait, and if you're casting that blade bait, bringing it back to the boat, I really like 7.5. I love 7.5, 7.5 foot rod, medium light. The only thing is when you are trying to fish vertical up and down, or when I'm trying to sharpshoot it and see it under my graph, then a shorter rod is nice. But if you're gonna buy one, 7.5, I feel like has a ton of applications with like Lindy rigging and stuff like that too. I did a video with Sam last year and we were just doing some live minnows and Sam was convinced that you should hook the minnow by the head. I was convinced you should hook the minnow by the tail. I'm gonna admit defeat. I think I like hooking the minnow by the head on a jig. It just keeps them on a little bit better. And I don't know, I just don't like having to rebait or losing. I don't really like using bait more than I need to in general. So Sam, I know I'm right most of the time, but this time you're right. I do like hooking the minnows by the head. Just don't tell Sam I said that. And then as far as line goes, I think like 10-pound braid, if you're just gonna have a 1 spool line. People always ask me if you could have 1 rod for everything. And you know, 1 spool line, 1 reel. I think this is a 1,000 size Stratic, but I think a 2,000 size spinning reel is pretty perfect for bass, walleye. Could do pike on it. But for, as far as line goes, 10-pound braid. 10-pound braid is what's on 80% of my spinning reels, and you can do everything with it. You can do panfish if you need, you can do bass, yeah. So depending on if it's a little more finesse, might be using an 8-pound, 6-pound fluorocarbon leader, which is that clear section you tie on the end. In this case, I think I got 10 on my jigs and 12 on my swim bait and my blade bait, so. All right, we're trying option number 2. We're trying the blade bait now. I think this will be good for just whipping out and casting across these flats. Like, I'll do whatever it takes to catch fish, but I love active, aggressive presentations. The hits are that much better. Keeps you moving, keeps you active, stops you from getting that tiller belly. So right now with this blade bait, I'm just kind of up 3-4 feet and then letting it hit the bottom. And then pumping it up and then letting it hit the bottom. So those fish have a chance to track it. Every time it hits the mud, it just, I don't know, I love the hits with this. Lots of fish. First cast with the blade bait. Unreal, and it feels decent. So good. Presentation number 2 pays off. after struggling with the jig and the minnow. This feels decent. Beautiful walleye. There you have it. It has not been hot and heavy. Look at that beautiful walleye. So that's the thing with all these baits, these three options, you're working it according to the lure, right? You can't work every bait the same way. So when you're fishing a jig and minnow, I don't think ripping it is necessarily the best technique. Maybe with an artificial, the soft plastic, with a live minnow, you're kind of relying on that meat and that smell. With a bait like this, which is obviously very flashy and fast, you're vibrating, you're ripping it off the bottom, and people do the same thing with rattle baits. I think that would kind of be in the same category. And you're getting that reaction bite. There we go. Sometimes the bites are ferocious, and sometimes you kind of just go to pop your bait and he's eating it. Early April, in my visor, there's literally icebergs bouncing around my lure. Beautiful. There we go, guys. What a fun day, afternoon on the lake. So blessed to have Lake of the Woods in my backyard. Well, we caught him on the blade bait, we caught him on the jig. We may as well try this slick shiner. This one is actually made by me. It's a Jay's jig. That's a bullet nose head. I think that's a 3/8 ounce. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. This will take a little longer to fall, and we'll fish it a little bit slower. And with this, instead of giving it a pop, I'm just giving it a couple cranks. That swim bait's popping off and then going back down, and then kicking up and then going back down. I could just do a slow, steady retrieve as well, which would probably do great, but I'm not giving it as much of a pop. I just cannot feel bottom as well with the swim bait. So we're actually gonna pause it. I know, it only got one cast. And if I was fishing in less than 15 feet of water, that would be my goal. But you know, if you're fishing in 20 to 30 plus, I think a blade bait, jig and wrap, that sort of deal. Well, that concludes the fishing portion of this video. Yeah, those are my three favorite spring walleye baits. Obviously, swim bait didn't really get too much of effort today, but I would say the blade bait was the winner for time spent versus fish caught. Awesome afternoon on Lake of the Woods. Just a couple hours and just fishing near town, which is so cool. Like, this lake is just, I'm spoiled. I'm absolutely spoiled. But we got fish in the live well, and that's the second part of this video. My buddy Josh and I have a company called Catch and Cook. We make fish batter, fish and game coating, and we're working on some new products. And these fish are gonna be used for some beta testing for our next product. We're working on a new flavor, and I will tell you more of that as soon as we get to the kitchen. All right, guys, welcome to the kitchen. This is the original in this tub, the original Catch and Cook. And it's what you guys have supported and have come to love, but it is time to add a new flavor to our repertoire. And by popular demand, we went with spicy. See those little flames that drew on there? So this is, I think, the final formulation, what Josh and I have been working on. And well, we're gonna cook some fish, and I'll talk a little more about it, but I love spicy food, and I think I might like this more than the original. So anyways, we're gonna fry up a couple of those perch in the deep fryer outside, and I'll tell you more about the new spicy flavor. Rudy, are you ready to summon the spice? Yes? Yeah, he's ready. By the way, before we get to cooking, Catch and Cook is not made in my kitchen. It is in a much more sanitary environment in a certified production kitchen. Anyways, that's all I gotta say. There you have it. I know it looks the same, but it does not taste the same. All right, we've achieved about 360. That's gonna be good. Look at that. Something that will give you soggy fish right away is if you cover this up or put it on paper towel, put it in the oven. That is how you get soggy fish. If you want crispy fish, you want it to stay crispy, keep it on a drying rack, not sitting on top of each other, then the grease is just gonna drip into itself, or keep it in this basket if it's not on top of itself. But that is beautiful. I'm gonna show you guys what we're dealing with here. Look at how crispy That is. Ooh, it's so hot. I don't even know why I'm holding it right now. Oh boy, how did my catch just get outside? This has some good kick. I love this, guys. I'm a spicy food lover, and this is just a great way to, you know, change up the way you cook fish. Well guys, whether you are a spicy food connoisseur or you just like food with a little bit of a bite, I think this is gonna do it. That's my sales pitch. This is coming to market sometime in June. Catch and Cook Flame, we're calling it, and I'm pumped. Thank you guys for watching. Oh, it was hot too.